Hi everybody, and welcome back to Cooking with Mark, and today we're going to learn how to do a teriyaki Salisbury steak in homemade gravy, and we're going to cook it over wild brown rice. Now the reason why we're doing wild brown rice is because potatoes tend to be a little more starchy, and I want to move away from the starch. I did a meal last week with meatloaf and mashed potatoes, so this week I'm actually going to do one with brown rice. It's a little more healthier for you. So the first thing you're going to need is 2 packages of Lipton onion soup mix. You're going to need 10 and a half ounces, 10 ounces of water, and mix the 2 packages together. You're going to need a pound and a half of hamburger, half a cup to 3/4 cups of breadcrumbs, 1 egg, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and 1/8 teaspoon of pepper, 1 tablespoon of flour, and 1/4 cup of ketchup, 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce, and you're going to need half a teaspoon of mustard, dry or wet, it doesn't matter, but don't use regular mustard. I'm actually using dill mustard. It's going to give it the flavor that we want. You're also going to need a 1/4 cup of water, teriyaki mix, and it comes in a package that looks something like this. I'm sorry, it's not teriyaki, it's bourbon. I apologize. We're actually doing Bourbon Salisbury steaks in homemade gravy. So I do want to apologize for that. And the breadcrumbs are actually stovetop stuffing. You put them in a Ziploc baggie, and you use a roller, and you roll them out and crush them into almost like a powder form, as you can see right here. You're also going to need a half a cup of sauteed onions, garlic, and red, yellow, and orange bell peppers. As you know, that is my niche. I use that in all my meals. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to combine the ingredients for the hamburger first. And you want to use 1.5 pounds of lean hamburger for this. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add the hamburger in here. I always divide my hamburger up. I buy big packages and then I divide it up. Each one of these is about 3/4 pounds, 3/4 to a pound. Let's see here. There's the hamburger. Now, in with the hamburger, you're going to add the stuffing, which is your half cup, 3/4 cup of breadcrumbs. You're going to add the sauteed onions, garlic, and bell peppers. 1 egg. You're going to need 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and because I just dumped it all over the counter, we're actually going to just add a little more salt to this. And then you're going to need 1/8 of a teaspoon of pepper. There we go. And then you're going to simply add in 1/3 of your onion soup mix. And the last but not least is your brown sugar bourbon marinated mix. All you're going to do is just simply mix this whole thing together. We're going to mix it by hand, just because it's going to be easier. Get it all mixed in. Make sure it's thoroughly mixed. Everything has got to be mixed together. Now you're probably wondering why you're going to use so much hamburger. Well, this is enough to serve 6 to 8 Salisbury steaks. And 6 to 8 Salisbury steaks, in this particular instance, we're actually using hamburger. And I'm sure most of you didn't realize that you could use Salisbury steak with hamburger. But when you buy this in the store, any kind of Salisbury steak in the store, 9 times out of 10, it's made with hamburger. So that's what we're going to do today. Now, after you get it completely mixed, make sure this is completely mixed here. Once I get my fingers all cleaned off. We're just going to go into the bathroom and clean these up a little bit. Okay, now that we've got this all done up here, we're going to take this and we're going to put this in little small thin patties. Now, the reason for the small thin patties is because this is not a hamburger. So it's got to be small and it's got to be thin. It's a Salisbury steak. So let me get this pan over here. I'm going to take a handful like this and just simply flatten it so it looks something like that. And you're going to do this with pretty much the rest of this in here. Now, after you get them in the pan, as I stated, there should be 6 to 8. I have 8 here. So we're going to turn this on. It's going to be on a medium low heat, medium, actually just medium heat. Now, these are not going to cook all the way through. All you're going to do is just brown these on both sides. That's it. In the meantime, I'm going to get everything prepped up for the actual gravy. So while this is cooking over here, we're actually going to start the gravy mixture. So in the gravy mixture, what we're going to do is we're going to add your soup mix, the remaining of the soup mix, you're going to add your flour, and what you want to do with this is just simply stir this around to make it nice and smooth. Now this is going to be the basis of your gravy, right here. Alright, so that's all done. So we're going to take the mustard. And what you can always do is take the mustard teaspoon and just stir it in to the soup mix so that you get most of the mustard out of there. Then we're going to add the ketchup. And the water. And as I stated, this is everything you're going to need. This is going to be the basis of your gravy. Now, once you get this all stirred, the last thing you're going to add into here is your Worcestershire sauce. And this is actually two teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce. There's one. And there's two. And you want to make sure that this is mixed up really well. Now when you get done, it should look something like this. Let me see if I can actually... Should look something like that. That's going to be the base of your gravy. Now we're going to come back over here and we're going to flip the Salisbury steaks. And as I said, we're just browning this. Now the reason why we're just going to brown this is because these are going to soak in your gravy. Now, if you like thicker steaks, you can do so. Just make 6 of these as opposed to the 8. That'll allow you to increase the size of the steaks. And as I stated, these are just browning. That's all they're doing. Now I have the gravy. It's all done up. So that's all ready to go. While the Salisbury steaks are cooking, I'm actually going to put everything away here. And while I'm at it, I have a pan right here that we're going to make brown rice. Put that on high. I'm going to flip these one more time here. These are all getting flipped. Now the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take that gravy you just made and you're going to pour it over the top. Now the last thing we're going to do is turn this on to a low, put a cover on it, and you're going to stir it for 20 minutes. That'll give it enough time to actually cook all the way through. Now, as you can see, these are turning out really well. The gravy is pretty good. I flipped these a few times. can't wait to taste this gravy. It smells delicious. Now you can make the 8 as I made here, which does serve 8. I think each one of these is big enough for one person. Or you can make 6 bigger ones by cutting it down, or you can increase to 3 pounds. And if you've got a bigger party coming over, it's a very easy meal to make. And the brown rice is going to go good with this. As I stated, this is just about done. Wait until the rice is just about ready. I wanted to pull it off just a little bit and let it drain some. So we're going to shut that off. Now all you're going to do is, this is all done, you're just going to scoop one of these Salisbury steaks on top of the rice. I think what we're going to do is we're going to get all these set up first. Now, I've got all the Salisbury steaks out on rice, and you're just gonna drizzle some over the top. As I'm doing here. Now, the amount of gravy that this makes is not enough for the 8. So I do recommend doubling up the amount of ingredients for the gravy mix just to have enough. I mean, I added a little more ketchup and a little more Worcestershire sauce and just a little more onion soup mix to make this complete. So that's what I recommend that you do. These are all done. As you can see, the sauce is on top of the Salisbury steak. This was enough for 8 servings. However, I did mention that you do have to make a little more gravy to accommodate for 8 Salisbury steaks and enough for 8 people. This was Cooking Remark, and it was bourbon flavored Salisbury steak over wild brown rice. It'll be up on my Facebook page. It'll be up on my website. It'll also be up on my Twitter account. The pictures will be. It'll be up on my YouTube account. If you have any questions, please feel free to instant message me or email me, or you can even call and leave a message. I usually work 8 to 4:30, so I will receive your message after I get out of work and I'll give you a call back. Thank you for watching Cooking with Mark, and have a good day now.